Welcome everyone, it's Glacier Guy. I'm Rock the Glacier as always. We're back with a painting tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to paint this red and brown color scheme. Yep. Looking pretty nice. This Retributor Heavy Bolter Squad. We're going to be using a Retributor Superior as our test model. A little bit different. Have potentially a little bit additional colors on there. A little bit of background. I have a total of 8 heavy bolters to paint up in this scheme. And I have 8 of each heavy weapon: heavy flamer, melta gun, heavy bolter. And the reason why I have 8 of each weapon is back in, I think it was 8th or 9th edition when I built this army. You could only take 3 heavy weapon options typically in an army back when we did that, or heavy slots. You could take 3 of them. And so typically what you do is you take a Castellan, or was it a Castellan? Castellan? You would take the tank, Castigator. You take the tank and you take 2 squads of Retributors, and you would potentially take the Holy Trinity, or you would just take multi-meltas. And I figured I might as well have 2 full squads of each, so I have 2 full squads of heavy bolters, and well, I have 8 heavy bolters, 8 multi-meltas, 8 heavy flamers, and 3 or 4 superiors. This one with a combi melta, and so we're going to be getting into this. So hope you enjoy. All right, so I will not be filming myself painting because that is stressful as all hell. But we will be showing you between each stages and what colors we're using. Mostly using Pro Acrylic paints. There's a few Citadel paints and mostly Citadel washes. I do have Pro Acrylic washes, and I could use those, but I already used Citadel washes on the first test model. I completely forgot that I had the Pro Acrylic washes, even though they're right in front of me. But we'll probably stick with the Citadel washes just for consistency. And the first color we're going to be using is Mahogany. In our brown, we only have 2 colors for our browns. We have Mahogany and Burnt Sienna. We're going to start with Mahogany, and that is going to be about 2 layers of Mahogany on all of the armor. And so the backpack, the armor, the legs, and everything else. And so we'll do that, and I will come back with what she's going to look like after the 2 coats are done. All right, we finished the 2 coats of Mahogany, and it's mostly well covered. One thing you have to be aware of if you're using Pro Acrylic is these are all pre-thinned. So if you add water to your brush like you would with a Citadel paint, if you're trying to kind of like thin it down a little bit, you're gonna get it very thinned. So I would limit the amount of water your brush has, like get it a little wet and then kind of dry it out before you mix it with paint. That's just something I've noticed. These are pretty pre-thinned and you want to give them a nice shake. But the 2 layers of Mahogany is done. Now what we're going to go on to next is we're going to do all of the cloak, the gloves, any belts if I can find them, and I think that might be it. So we're going to do any of the cloaks and everything. We're going to go for the reds. And so where we got this nice like red on this one, we're going to do that together. So what I used for the first model, for the first test models, I used this little, it's not a triad, but I used this little mix of colors here. Burgundy is the mid-tone, black red is the recesses, and then we did a bold pyro red and burgundy up to there. So this is the bright red in the Pro Acrylic line. If I was doing this with Citadel, I would probably use corn red, and I'd probably use corn red, a wash, and Mephiston red, and then maybe go up to a wild redder red for like a highlight. But when we're using the Pro Acrylic, we're stuck with the colors that we have. Now there is an optional, there's an intermediary option that you could use instead of burgundy. I liked the little purplish that the burgundy gave me, but you could use burnt red along with black red and the bold pyretic red. And so it gives just a slightly more red and less purple tone. And so that's an option, but I'm gonna stick with the burgundy. So we're gonna do 2 layers of burgundy on all of those, and then we'll be back when that's done. All right, we just finished the 2 coats of burgundy. And next we're gonna move on to do the quick color parchment. We're gonna do 2 or 3 coats of Rakarth flesh. Sometimes this doesn't cover the first 1 or 2 coats. And then we're gonna do 2 coats of slate gray on the chainsword casing and on the Kami bolter casing. And then, yeah, we're gonna work our way up. And then I think after that we're gonna do probably black, but we're just gonna do these 2 and we'll come back. All right, so we finished with the base coats for the 2 base coats for gray on the bolt, the Kami weapon, and the chainsword, and we did the Rakarth flesh on the parchment. We did also do some of the red. We put the bold pyrite red on the purity seal, and we added some of the mahogany back to where these parts are going to be. Hold on. These parts on the chainsword, the little filigree, they're going to be gold, so we put a little brown up there to help that out. And so what we're going to be doing next, we're going to do black. So we're going to get any parts that need to be black, so pipe vents and stuff like that. And then we're going to do, I'll probably do black and I'm going to be using coal black, but you can use Corvus black or Abaddon black, whichever one you like. I'm going to be using coal black just because I'm trying to stick with the Pro Acryl line. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so we did the black areas. We did the frag grenade. I always do my frag grenades black, and then sometimes I put silver on the release handle of the grenade. Sometimes I don't. I did the beads black, and then I did the little vent pipes black. I also did some black for the text on the parchment. And then I did go and do a single base coat of red on the lenses because we're going to do a wash and then we're going to build up the lenses after that. So I believe what we're going to be doing next is the metallics. And so the metallics that we're going to be using, let me grab them. So we have rich gold for the gold areas, and we have steel for the steel areas, and I have, there it is. And then I have bronze for the melt-a-gun parts. And so that is what we're going to be doing. And so I'm going to do all the metallics because they're all kind of be done around the same time. And then we'll come back and we'll show you what it looks like with all the base coats done minus the base. Well, so yeah. All right, so we finished all of the metallics. At some point, I don't remember if I showed you or not, but I did use a little bit of Pro Acryl blue to just do the blue on the back of the backpack. You can do that any color how you want. I just went with blue. But we went with our 3 metallics that I discussed. And looking pretty nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sort of match the base with this base. So we're going to use, you can use Pro Acryl if you want, but I'm using some Citadel because I have some extra. I'm going to use some Mechanicus Standard Gray, and we'll just do an overall thin coat of that. There are some bricks. I have to pick a brick color, so I'm probably going to pick maybe black red for this. We'll figure out what we want to do, but the brick color is just kind of whatever you want. But yeah, so I'm going to do the base, and then we'll be back. All right, so the base is looking nice. We just did a little bit of gray and some black red. That's still drying. What we're going to do now is we're going to go around. We're going to pick out any areas where there was a mistake. So anywhere where you kind of messed up, just go through with your base coat, clean that up, tidy that up a little bit. It'll look great. After we're doing the cleanup step, because on this one, there's not a whole lot of cleanup I have to do, but typically when I'm doing when I'm batch painting, there's more cleanup to do. So in this case, because I was only doing the one model, I didn't have as much cleanup. So we're gonna do the cleanup, and then we're gonna do an overall wash of Agrax Earthshade. And you can, if you really want to. Typically I'll do this with most of my other models, but for this squad, I was trying an overall wash. You can actually pick out washes. So what I would do if you want to pick it out and be very specific, I would do a Nuln Oil wash on any of the gray and silver. I would do a Reikland Flesh Shade on any of the gold. I would do Agrax Earthshade on the brown. You can do a Caribou Crimson on the red. But I want to lock all these colors in together into the same palette. So I'm going to do Agrax Earthshade over the entire thing, except for the base. The base is going to be Nuln Oil, Draconoth Nightshade, and Druchii Violet. Druchii? Oh, hold on. It's Druchii Violet, whatever, however you say it. There's so many ways to say it. The reason why is because I want these bases to have a gray, black, but kind of a subtle alien tone. And so that's why I've been incorporating these two into all my bases, just to kind of add a little purple and a little blue to the bases, but also mostly being black. And like, it's something that you can't really tell unless you look at it very closely and you're like, oh, there's a little bit of a purple tone, there's a little bit of a blue tone. And so that's what I'm gonna do for the bases. But I'm gonna do some tidying up, we're gonna do an overall wash, and then we're gonna come back after the washes are all dried and I'll show you what it all looks like. All right, this is what it looks like after it has been washed with the Agrax Earthshade. And it looks pretty good. Like, you could play with this right now. No worries. But we are going to be doing some highlights. And the main highlight that we're going to be doing is the cloak, all the cloth, all the red cloth and the gloves and everything. And so we're going to do a recess highlight of black red. We're going to do a slight mid-tone of burgundy, but we're not going to completely get rid of the wash that we did, but we are going to go back over some of the mid-tone with burgundy, and then a mix of burgundy and bold pyrite red, which is the main red color for Pro Acryl. We'll bring the cloak in the high areas back up just to match our cloak right here on our little retributor. Then we'll pick out we'll highlight a little bit of the red where there's other red areas, where that purity seal is. And also we'll do the lenses. I don't do crazy like white edge dotting on the lenses. I'm pretty simple with my lenses. But yeah, we'll work on that cloak and then we'll go from there. So I'll show you what it looks like when that's done. All right, so I did a quick with the black red. So we went into the crevices where the wash had pooled on the red, and we just did a nice thin layer of black red. You can't really tell, but it's there. All right, we took a layer of burgundy, brought up the raised edges, left some of the wash and some of the black red behind, and now this begins a long process where we're going to be feathering. You could wet blend this if you wanted to, but we're going to be feathering the red and the burgundy together. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that in some more higher raised areas. All right, and here's the results of doing the mix and the blending. Obviously, you can spend hours and hours getting the blends just right between the three colors, but to get this moving on, I think this looks fine, looks good. I think the blends are great, and yeah. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to do some edge highlighting on the grays, and then we'll be back. All right, so we did a little bit of edge highlighting we just used the slate gray, because after you wash it, we use the slate gray to pick out the extreme edges on the bolt gun and on the chainsword. And so all we have left really is the brown. And so for the brown, we're gonna use, you could, if you really wanted to, re-highlight the silvers and the golds, but I like them a little bit more muted on this squad. But we're gonna be doing, gotta find my browns, where are they? Here we go. So we're gonna go back with mahogany and burnt sienna. So it's mostly gonna be a little bit of mahogany on the raised areas and then burnt sienna mixed in. You can go all the way up to straight burnt sienna, but I like to do a little bit of mixing. And we're just gonna do the extreme top edge highlights like we did in the last one. All right, we got all the brown highlighting done to a satisfactory level, and our Retributor Superior is looking good. We just need to throw a little bit of Alien Static Grass and then do the base, and we'll be back. All right, as you can see in this nice, lovely little 360, here we have the completed Superior, and she's able to lead our squads in the future with that lovely combi Melta and chainsword. I think overall, it's a good look. It's a limited color scheme, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to painting it on the next 7 models I have for this color scheme, and looking forward to what other color schemes we're going to think of next. But hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.